My name is George Chamchoum. I've been in this wonderful business for 52 years now. I started as a director, producer. I directed my first movie in 1968 after I immediately graduated in Paris. I was blessed enough to be assistant trainee with Roman Polanski on Repulsion and with Tarkovsky on Solaris. So I've been with legends, and they shaped my career. They shaped my personality. My passion for the movies, of course, led me to festivals. I mean, many of my movies went to many festivals. And in 1982, I started collaborating with le Festival du Film Fantastique et de Science-Fiction in Paris, which is the Paris science fiction and horror movies. It was one of the leading festivals in the world, and it was one of the first, I think the second one, that dealt with horror movies. I was a jury delegate by then, and of course I met many filmmakers, and we discovered many filmmakers at this festival. We discovered Steven Spielberg, Sam Raimi, just to name, Toby Hooper, just to name those three. And I fell in love with festival. I literally fell in love, and I always said, you know, I will probably end up my career doing festivals. The Korean cinema, the golden age of Korean cinema was really the 50s, 60s, leading up to the early 70s, and then it died down. But in fact, what happened, there was a shock. A shock happened into my life, and a shock happened to the movies too. It was the late 90s, early 2000, when the Korean cinema just burst into the international stage, and they literally, I mean literally, reinvented the language of cinema. The first one was, I believe, Shiri, then JSA, then Taeguki, Shilmido, My Sassy Girl. I mean, those movies, when they came, you know, we were, I mean, flabbergasted by those movies. I mean, the way of narrative, the way of making the movie, the way of approaching a subject was totally new. And I would say it with a lot of confidence. The Korean filmmakers reinvented the language of cinema. And of course now, as the director of the Asian World Film Festival that we started 5 years ago, this is our 6th year. Of course, we focused a lot, of course, again on Korean cinema because there are, I mean, really dozens and dozens of great movies, you know, from Korea. Now we are lucky because of Netflix and Amazon. Now the Korean cinema is at your reach. I mean, you can see it now. But still, general audience does not know really the wealth of the Korean cinema. And that's what we try at the Asian World Film Festival to do, is to show this wealth. And that is why we have a special program which is called Korea Film Days, where every year I would screen movies from Korea, like 4 or 5 movies, with the collaboration of the Korean Cultural Center. They've been extremely generous to us by lending us a hand, and their contact, which is very important. And believe it or not, they're very successful at the festival. Actually, some of the shows are full house, which is rare, you know. The Asian World Film Festival, when we created it for a good reason. That's why it is in late October, early November. Now it's always November. We are the platform for the Asian movies, for the 53 Asian countries, or 50 plus Asian countries. We take the submitted movies to the Oscar and the Golden Globe, and we take them to the next step, which is nomination, and from the nomination, a win, you know. No festival in the world does that. We really are, I would say 85% of our program are the submitted movies to the Oscar and the Golden Globe. The rest is, like I said, you know, Korea Film Days, China Film Days. We will keep on doing this. We'll keep on going. And last year, of course, Parasite made history. And I would like to say, in all humility, that we're a little part of that because we did promote that movie, and we worked a lot on it to promote it, to put it out there so people can finally see what the Korean cinema is capable of. And it is long overdue. Korea should have won the Oscar a couple of times, or even be nominated a couple of times, and they never had it. But here it is. Parasite came and got 4 Oscars, which is amazing. Actually, I'm going to oversimplify it. American cinema lately, I would say the past 2 decades, 3 decades, they've been a lot focused on special effects. It lost its humanity. I mean, when you look at movies from America in the 40s and 50s, and you look at them today, there's a huge difference. In the old days, they knew how to tell you a story from A to Z. Korean, that's what they do. They tell you a story from A to Z, and not only that, the way they do it, they grab you by the guts because they put so much emotion. And you know, Korean people are very extremist, like us, Mediterranean. We speak loud. Everybody hears you. You know, you're bigger than life. So the Korean movies are bigger than life because their characters are bigger than life. But this is how they are. They grab you and they get you into the story. So it's devoid from all special effect. They focus on the dramaturgy, you know, the drama of the character, you know. In a minute, they make you laugh and cry in 1 minute. I mean, you're like laughing like crazy, and then up you start crying. Take any director, I'm not going to name them, but take anyone, they do it. They are incredible. I mean, when you see their movies, I mean, it's mind-boggling the way they grab you from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, and the way they tell the story, they get you, they sink you into it. But American cinema, unfortunately, they have lost, you know, the storytelling. They have lost all the passion, all the humanity of the characters. Why? Because it's drowned by the special effect. I'm not saying all American cinema is like that. No, there are some great movies, definitely. But honestly, this is my honest opinion, nothing compared to the Korean cinema today. I honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. But one thing is I can tell you, yes, K-pop, Korean food, the Korean movies have been a huge impact on Western civilization, and definitely in America. The Americans themselves now are totally into this culture, this new culture to them. I mean, the past 7-8 years, I've seen the changes myself. So what would I say to the media, the Korean media, you mean? What would I tell them? Just keep on doing your job, because already the people are ready. They are ready to accept it because they have accepted it. So their job is easy now. All you have to do is give it just a small push. And I mean, look at Parasite. Parasite has made a huge impact on the whole society I mean, I will speak mostly here or Europe, because I go to Europe a lot, or the Middle East. It had an impact. I mean, I know when I went to Lebanon after the Oscars, everybody was talking about it. And of course, Korean barbecue and the K-pop. I mean, K-pop is like, it's a huge phenomenon. It's a social phenomenon. Korea is, I wouldn't say is going to be, and I believe it is a force to be reckoned with in every way. So what has the media to do? They've been fed, it's done, it's there.